Alrighty here. So this guy made a comment here 10 hours ago. People are still running across these videos I've made. One guy said that I sounded like I was slobbering in the mic. I was. It's in effect. I wanted to be ridiculous. So, the only risk I run doing videos is people are going to criticize them. And since I make sure that I tell people to unlike and unsubscribe, it does no good. They still won't listen. And so this guy is making a complaint about my complaint about ICT, and he says, we're going to dive into his channel, by the way. He says here, I figure it's fair game if he's going to, light into me. He goes, ask yourself, what are you doing? I actually ask myself that every other millisecond. I'm like, what are you doing? Hello? And I think it's, there's a balance between trading at the market and trading on limits, because it's a completely different situation. Somebody said that the market crashed 44 pips down on the euro. Yeah. To slice down really hard and then retrace really hard, or maybe drift up. That's actually better. If it slices down and it drifts up, much better. If you drift down and smash up, so you drift down into your buy limits, that fills you. And of course, these orders need to last longer, and you're not going to get filled on your 20 pips, 2 hours deep. One single ticket, 20 pips deep for 2 hours. It means that the market has to move on average 10 pips an hour, right? For that ticket to be fillable. Now, the market could drop 15 minutes and it's going to tag this 2 hour landmine, so to speak, this ticket that's sitting there. And so this is the thing. Can you trade on limits all day long? Well, I don't think you're going to get the size you want every time. You could still oversize it that way too. So when I'm watching the market smash right down, they're selling off the pound again right now. Into Asia, I want to buy this plunge of 20 to 60 pips. And I know that the 60 pip deep orders could get filled, not likely in Asia. So the probabilities are constantly changing. I mean, the market's not going to move 80 pips in Asia unless something insane happens, like Biden's head explodes, or Biden literally stares in the camera for, I give it like 5.5 minutes, and everybody shits their pants and the markets go berserk. And so there's that. I'm sure that something's coming around the corner. So if you had the corona, which is kind of I don't know. People say, oh, this corona was designed to do this and that. You know what's really going on there, I think, is that the landscape's there. It's as if you have a room full of gasoline fumes. Well, how hard is it if somebody accidentally fucking, scratch their dick on a steel panel, and next thing you know, or their Steely Dan is, over emphasized, and you get that, what is that? The insurrection erection. What could go wrong? And the landscape's there, right? All you need to do is walk into any store before COVID. You just walked into some place and go, you know what? If you had like uranium-235, of course, nobody would believe you. Oh, you got like a whole bunch of radiation with you just brought in the store? Yeah, it's crazy. I just watched a horror flick where this guy had a dead body and he went to a Halloween party, and they're like, that is like the best. He goes, it's amazing. It looks so real. It's a real dead guy. And of course, then he has to kill the 3 people that helps him bury the dead guy. I don't know if you saw this movie or not. It's out there. For free. I saw that for free. A lot of stuff for free. I think it brainwashed me. A false sense of security that it's all going to be okay. Well, with Biden at the helm, Jesus Christ. Uncle Joe steering the ship, it's like, ooh, he's treating the country like a rent-a-car. Hey, let's turn out the radios. Let's turn the stereo way up below the speakers. What a fucking retard. Who the fuck is this idiot? Fucking Biden. Dude, I mean, I can't even believe this shit. The guy's like, yeah, well, we're just going to just turn shit off. We're going to go fucking total green. Dude, you don't even have that shit online. You're like a dumb shit that's like, I got this. You should see the cloud system. Honey, I remember when I was married the first time, I said to my wife, wait till you see what's coming in the mail. She's like, what is it? Is it a diamond ring? No. 5 and a quarter inch floppies with, and mind you, 2 diskettes. That's $1,000 a disc for Pardo Corporation. Pardo Corporation wrote trading robots. They made trading robots. Well, they made a robot. You still had to optimize it. And I would sit there and run soybean and optimize them on a dot matrix printer. I mean, a printer that had a scrolling track. You just buy this big pile of paper. Shiny paper, as I recall, is really weird. Cheap, shiny paper. And I must have let that printer run until it melted that 24-pin head. And I thought, I don't think this is going to work. I mean, I'm down $2,000. I'm down $5,000 on the computer. I'm down $3,500 on the computer. $2,000 on a fucking robot. It's 1985. I think 1985. And I'm thinking, well, this has got to be it, right? Because, it's very objective. The computer's not going to make any kind of mistakes, other than some boot up. And, yeah, the ICT, the reason why I pick on ICT is because he's the most extreme. He's like Biden. If you had to pick politician, you're going to think Richard Nixon pops out. It's iconic. He's the embodiment of the importance. He's like a politician. Like, he's important. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And if I catch anybody out there copying my stuff, and this other one that cracks me up, people say, once if people knew what I was doing trading wise, because I'm so good at it, that everybody do what I'm doing, the markets will just freeze. Because everybody's on the same trade, like we're all waiting for the market to move. Because we're all got limit orders sitting. We're not stupid enough to pull the trigger at the market and think we know that right now is a good price. Although right now you could buy a little bit, So when I was buying before the last video, I bought at the market. I go, yeah, these are bullshit trades. These are fucking, I must have lost about $18, maybe $36. If I just sit there and go, I'll pull a fucking trigger. Give me that fucking euro with 100 pips stop at the market. Boom. Right now I got a button that can do that. Do I hit that every hour? Well, you almost could, like whether the market was going up or down, just try it one day. You'd be surprised how, if you're in the wrong trade, like you get in the trade, you go, you know what? I wanted to be short and I'm long, and you're making money. You ever have that happen? So you're like, fuck, I don't want to be in this trade, but I am actually winning. Should I get out? I'm thinking, God, kind of torn, should I hold this? I'm really not planning on this trade in this direction. I want to trade, but I mean, I'm in the wrong trade. But if that trade, the whole point of this, and it's missed, I guess, the whole point of my system is that I've got a fucking BB gun with 2,000 round machine gun BB gun. And it's like, dude, I'm just going to wear you down. You may have a bazooka, but the market's not it doesn't know you exist. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't know you exist. So what you're doing, your strategies or your technique or your approach is completely invisible to the world. It's hard to believe because people just assume, well, I guess your broker knows you're putting the trade on, right? But my broker's never denied me an order. They don't treat me different on any tickets. And slippage, it's bullshit slippage. You don't want slippage, just get a fixed pip broker. You're probably going to get slippage if the server disconnects. Yeah, and you open the account back up, look, you're out of a few K, but it doesn't matter. I know this guy that was trading gold, and he had this bad slippage, and he sued these people, this broker in Australia. And I thought, why would you waste your time? I mean, can't you make that back on the next trade? Granted, it's like, $8,000 he lost. I don't know, probably some giant trade. You know what? I get a bad meal at the restaurant. I'm not gonna fucking come back and treat it like a Black Lives Matter punching bag. I'm not gonna come back and, oh, that meal you gave me. Whew, wait till you see what I'm gonna do to your place later on. I can't imagine, but it's just so funny all the time. And the mentor's mentor, ICT. There's another guy out there who sends me this stuff. I blasted him a few times in emails. It's so cute. He comes back. He's like, well, what's the problem? I said, the problem is you send me this shit that the big banks, and I should do a video about that guy too. He sends us it's got 20 weekly candles on a chart with a trend line on the wick tips, or just kind of thrown in arbitrarily. And he says, those big banks, the institutional trend lines. I'm like, you might as well just start like I don't know, like an invisible friend farm instead of what is it, Farm Book, or where that thing is on the Facebook, Farmville, Invisible Farmville. Yeah, it lives in your fucking head. Even if that was true, could you fucking spell out the trade plan, the size, the week that I babysit the weekly, and you go, no, honey, not this week. I'm going to get the robots back out because those little robots, because, we're just not making any. I don't feel like I'm participating in the market. So the level of participation, the market's kind of going to, if I go pure limit entry, the market's determining whether I participate or not. I'm just standing there waiting to get hit like a haystack. Like I'm on the racetrack looking to get hit by a car. Now, if I get in the car and I start driving, and I don't know what's around the turn, like, you really don't know what's going to happen next. Say you get in the market, you don't know what's going to happen next, whether it goes up or down, if it goes up big, down big. Are you okay with that? Well, most people aren't. The cure to make it okay is that, I got to look at supply and demand zones, and this guy is apparently a supply and demand zone guy. Guy's criticizing my criticisms. Nobody's talking about your shit, so suck yourself. I can't reach. And do you do something cool if you have that kind of ability, I think he says. What else does he say? You are talking about ICT because of views? Yeah, I'm trying to get more views. Actually, I did, when I first saw ICT, he was on this Google Plus site. And I couldn't resist. I heard his fucking video. He got under my skin so bad with this mystic bullshit. It's like going to a Scientology class. I'm like, okay, dude, where's the punchline? Well, it's this to that to this. Dude, really? You ain't even talking about this chart. There's not even the order block stuff. Oh, some guy sent me a thing about 6 months ago. Here's the trades I took. I'm like, you didn't even take them exactly the way ICT spells it out. In fact, you didn't take the 618. You took all those. Yeah, maybe it works for you. I frankly don't care, right? So, because there's no execution in that. There's no I'm thinking the guy did it at the market. He saw it coming to a 618. He goes, yeah, it's kind of close. Oh, I don't know if it's going to hit it. Get in one at the market. Yeah. Scale into that. Or you got a limit sitting there. If you really believe in the fib, you should have a limit there. Or are you, right? So there's degrees, and then every day is different. And some days the market's rocketing up, and some days the market's like, hey, Wednesday is going to be fucking nuts. You know it. It went full auction this time. British pound took out the highs, drove down, took out the lows, didn't quite make it to the lows of really deep back there, but that's okay, because if those limits are sitting down there and they never fill, some people consider that lost money because they didn't get a fill today on a limit. But look at that, you didn't get stopped out. If you get super aggressive, and I know this guy that's got this yacht company or whatever his name is, I'm sure he's getting in very aggressively right in front of the market, like a pip apart for 5 hours. Even in the euro, just because it's moving and going 20 pips, 4 hours, when these vacuums stack up and you see these voids looking back, you're like, uh-oh, like this morning. You could see the Dow was going to get annihilated. You could see all that stuff was already been kind of getting annihilated, but boy, today. And now it's like over. The week is kind of just this slushy movement. Bitcoin's kind of going back into the apex of wave 4 or the consolidation. It's consolidating. You can't go to 40 grand and all the way down $11,000 on an instrument. That's like a quarter of the market. I mean, they started at 0, went to 40, pulled back 10. It's 25% pullback of its whole life. It's completely ridiculous, the whole idea of it. But it is the liquidity escape route because people aren't going to. I can do a Bitcoin transaction so easy. Easier than checking the weather on these weather. I got this weather app that's called Accurate Weather. It takes so long to boot up. It actually goes to a blank screen first. I'm thinking, holy shit, like, what is in this thing, but it's got accurate weather. So the markets today, this is Wednesday, it's over. I'm buying the plunges and anything. It just seems like an easy trade. So the euro and the pound, the dollar's going up. I know it's hard to believe. And maybe they'll even raise interest rates. This is how stupid these people are, but they're going to have to. I don't know what they're going to do. They're pulling all these levers like fucking morons. Executive order number 48. No spitting on the sidewalk. Oh, we already have one for that. And just creating these scary ripples. The thing is that it's so draconian that the markets are going, whoa. But the end of the year's here. A lot of people liquidated. They just got out of these trades. And, what are we going back to? What do they call it back in the old days? They had a hybrid name for it. It was called a recession meets a stagflation. Maybe that's what we'll have, a little stagflation there. Resuscination, maybe. How about recessionflation? That's probably coming. So we got the... I got to take a look at this guy. So this guy's criticizing me. I want to take a look at his work of art here. So he's called the Daily...
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, so he's got this heavy accent. I don't know if he's Indian or something, but he's really kind of pushing it, I think. I'm not pushing my accent. This is how I really talk. But now this intro, you got to give him this fireball intro. That's, you don't get a lot of that. We follow smart money. So this is another kind of funny thing. And this kind of naughty scene here with this bull and this bear, don't you think? Daily Forex and PTZ. I think that's code talk for something. Oh, okay, so we intro. Let that sink in. Oh, disclaimer. Founder of Daily Forex and PTZ. I'm allowed to learn from a mentor. This mentor thing, do they have sex mentors? Okay, like guy comes over your house. Listen, just like what I'm doing here, do this. A sex mentor. Rough sex mentor.
আসসালামু আমি তৌহিদ আবার আপনাদের সামনে একটা নতুন ভিডিও নিয়ে আসলাম
I don't know what language this is, but the guy's apparently, I guess he's pushing the accent.
সবাই ভালো আছেন তো প্রথমেই ডিসক্লেইমার এটা তো থাকবেই কারণ ফরেক্স একটা ঝুঁকিপূর্ণ ব্যবসা তো ঝুঁকিকে মাথায় রেখেই ব্যবসাটা করতে হবে এইজন্য এই ডিসক্লেইমারটা থাকবে.
This is the guy. So it was funny. I didn't know the guy had an accent when he was typing on the
PTG Potential Trading Zone. আপনারা জানেন তো আমি আজকে ফোরাম ফরেক্স ফ্যাক্টরি তারপরে ভিডিও গুগল বিভিন্ন জায়গা থেকে যে বন্ধু বান্ধব.
Okay, here's a disclaimer. I am not an expert or a guru. Sorry to hear that. I'm tuning in here for expertise. I am just a general learner trader who want to learn and love to share. Man, you're reading my mind. I mean, I'm not a guru either. We're all gurus for the next 40 seconds of the market, I suppose. Hey, it looks like it's going down. Hey, you predicted that. First things first, I would like to thank some people from core of my heart. Oh, this guy's just so passionate. He's liberal. He's too compassionate for me.
নিজে পরিশ্রম করে দিনরাত
He's too caring.
বছরে নতুন একটা কোর্স চালু
Oh, he's
করার
going to give us a tour of
ঘোষণা
the channel.
ওয়াইক অফ মেথড
Okay,
স্মার্ট
I'm
মানি
going to have to do
পূরণ
the
করার
fast.
জন্য আল্লাহর ইচ্ছা
Oh, is that him?
সাপ্লাই
Oh,
ডিমান্ড
he's so
ওয়াইক অফ
adorable. Oh, look at supply and demand.
স্মার্ট মানি
Hey, Wyckoff.
ফরেক্স কোর্স ইন বাংলা PTZ
Yeah, there you go. See?
50% off.
Oh, 50%
50%
off.
off.
Now, wait, I'll get it the 50% pullback or 50% off the class? I go short the students or long? Look at valid for the first 10 students only. See, this kind of stuff, this, I guess, is the ICT world of like, yeah, mentorship has a cost, I'm not just going to give away my guruism. I am. I'm a free guru. My disclaimer is I don't have a disclaimer. If you need a disclaimer, you trying to hide something? Let me see if I get this. 50% off. 15,000 / it's getting all complicated here. Is that some kind of 15,000 per valid? It costs 15 grand normally? Oh, it's steep for me. Or maybe those 50,000 whatever shiitakes, whatever. Maybe that's the Indian coin or whatever it's got. I don't know. I don't know my accents. And if I did, his accent's too thick to be real. Let's get into the meat of it here. Oh, fuck. Yeah, it looks like Hindu or something. I don't know. Swalahami. I have no idea. I wouldn't do good as Miss America. So what do you think about world languages? I don't know. Oh, look at this top become a bottom shit. Oh, here's some setups. Sell orders. Key level. But then you got to buy back. Position accumulation. Sell. And then what? Buy orders. Stops and break. Traders above level. Oh, what's like trapping them? Tricking them? Buy orders from fresh buyers. Oh, those fresh buyers. They're not stinky old buyers. This is what people assume is going on. But I guarantee you there's a guy out there that just sold here and he just wrote it to here and he's like, I'm good. I ain't got to do nothing else today. Key level. They're all key levels. I like this top become a bottom here. What's this about? How come he's not talking about this? See, he's leaving too much out. Always got a critic. Everybody's a critic. So you have this top become a bottom here, right? Could wait for that. If you sold here, you got to cover here. Sell, get out. Not a perfect top bottom there. Comes all the way back to here, though. Kind of stop hunted this guy, though. That was the old stop hunter Rooney. I wish this was a painting tool. I could keep stacking color up on there, but I can't. Please hold. Call is very important to us. I know you've been on hold for a while. How do you like this new game they play? Maybe it's not new. I guess I'm still angry about it, so it's new to me, but if you want to stay on hold, you got to press like 3 now. They just hang up on you. You just can't be on hold. So if you've just lost your arm in a boating accident and you just get to the phone and you're calling, just some number comes up, it's the only number you could dial, and they're just like, if you don't press 3, I lost my only connection to the world. God, is it worth this? Now, what's the time frame on that? Like, if that's a week, yeah, you could sell there, cover there, into it, and even at that, you got to get out of something along the way. I guess he's talking about people got buy stops above here, and they're going to trade breakout confirmation. They're going to get trapped. You should come in here and buy. Buy orders from previous sellers with no stop loss. Buy orders from New sellers taking profits. Well, yeah, everybody's in there. That's silly. This is silly. But, here's the paid members. Better get your money out. You got your wallet, son? Membership questions. I don't know how you manage this. I could not in good conscience sell what I'm doing and feel like I'm being equally taking care of each of my, what do they call them, students. Because I'd feel like, oh, this guy's obviously retarded and he needs extra time. And am I being fair to the people that aren't retarded? I mean, really, this is the whole problem. And then is somebody going to sue me because they lost money in the market, or somebody going to, oh, God forbid, give my stuff away? Why would it matter? Like, if you saw how I was painting, if you can't hold the paintbrush the way I hold it, what would it matter if I, or even play guitar? Like, who's not stealing guitar licks, for God's sake? I mean, it's all day long. People are like, yeah, I listened to this band called Distant Dream, this metal band out of Poland or something. I don't know. Germany or something. And the guitarist, he sounds like the guitarist in my band. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd say, well, Jesus Christ, this guy got a gig over there in Germany. I don't think he stole the licks. It's just a style, right? So this cloud trading style, all these styles, man, you can't steal that. And yeah, the education courses, I mean, Empowered Trading made so much fucking money. Dude, they were selling courses. I don't know, they probably still are. Here's $5,000. It's on DVDs. And Akil Stuggs is telling people, well, don't, it's like cake. Don't eat it all in one sitting. Are you kidding? What's the point? Like, when I buy ice cream, I'm not saving it. I eat the whole fucking thing. I'll put that back in the freezer. Just a little taste. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I eat the whole thing. So people get the DVD course and they just watch the whole thing in one day. They're like, well, okay, what else you got? And he's telling you, no, one DVD at a time. Open the whole thing. We open it a present each day. Well, 12 days of Christmas, every day we open a present. Not me. Rip the fuckers open. What would we got here? Should we move on? Should we find a different family with more presents? That's just me. I mean, I'm greedy. I think I am greedy, so. But that's greed's good, right? The trading. So you need it for trading, a little bit of inspiration. You need some motivation. Okay, so I'm in this trade. It's Wednesday. There's plenty of time to make some more pips before. So if you got blown out of this euro smashing through the floor, but it was a great retracement. If you put in a 50 pip stop, now the ones I was dropping before the end of the video, they were 20 pip windows. There was a 3K, and you could have put those end to end all the way down with my widest stop is like 30 pips. I should have a 40 pip stop in there. It'd take a second to write that script. And you could have laid those in there and you'd know the exact dollar risk, so when you say you blow up the account, yeah, if you've got like $400 in there, I'm sure you could have just destroyed it if in the very beginning of that, and even if you got stopped out, you're just kind of death of 1,000 cuts. But if you're going to hold a loss, say you're down $200 because you got 50 pip stops on a whole grid, a 30 pip coverage area, and then it retraces. I'm presupposing that you didn't freak out when the very bottom there and it was overloaded, but it's okay if you did, because if it drops 40 and retraces 10, and you're like, holy shit, it's moving so fast, and it is gonna, because I showed you in the video that after it came back off the floor, it plunged again, right? So when you're coming from Europe into the United States, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And the overextension and the overshooting the runway, yeah, that's gonna happen. That's guaranteed. Okay, I'm going to scalp out of this trade I'm in. The euro dollar. Okay, so I do this thing where I have the euro and the pound, and one of them fills, and then I wait for that to retrace, and then inevitably the pound will come in, or the euro, because it's the dollar. It's about the dollar at that point, and they're going to take the punishment. Euro sells off, and the pound sells off a different amount at a different time, and there's different holes they fall into. They're never in sync. One can go up, the other one goes down. The pound can be going up, the euro can be going down. They definitely take off from each other, and the proof is if you look at the euro versus the pound, that thing's moving. The weighting changes. You know, how much is... it's pretty severe. If you're going to trade the euro to the pound, it's just brutal. It's like dollar CAD. I mean, these are neighbors. What's the difference? And it's just so severe. It just looks too severe to me. I have traded the euro to the pound. But man, to trade the euro to the pound, the euro to the dollar, and the pound to the dollar, it's so, those three, your brain wants to make sense of it. Oh, look at this, it's going up, therefore that. Gotta be careful, because those correlations, you want them to be true because it would make sense, but the market doesn't have that. It doesn't care, so it doesn't really have that kind of behavior. It doesn't behave like that, I don't think. It may. So I just take a lot of this stuff. I'm getting out at the market, actually. So they fill me on the limits. It retraces. I see them up. I take that ticket off, let the other ones go. And Wednesday's here. We're halfway through the week. We still got a good 48 hours left to trade here. Although tomorrow's Thursday. And I didn't really notice too much drama there when they came out with the FOMC. I wasn't watching, but I know I had tickets in there, and I got filled on the spike in the... We got this sell-off. I mean, this big rally here in the pound and the euro. So here is the euro dollar on the 1 hour chart. So we got smashing down, and you had to know that was a really high probability. And you had to know that if we got below this, there was going to be hell to pay. And if you could have survived that 40 pip smash down, this ticket became a winner. Just like I said in the last 4 hour chart, it overshot the runway there, right? It went down into this hole. And when it came back up, not only did it come to here, but it came up into this. And you could have done the sell side of that, although it's a narrower trade. But that was the trade for the sell limits placed on those supply-demand zones. I just say these are old prices, old highs, going back into this. So that was satisfied. Now it's getting very quiet. And I just bought this plunge here. Like I said, I don't think this is going to drop some crazy amount at this time of day. But now the obstacles, we got to go after this. And I put sell limits above here for 4 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. And if you had these, so you knew this hole existed below this day. And you may think this is a turtle soup down here or something, or maybe it's a borscht, that cold stuff. It just wouldn't matter. And you could start, if you martingale into it, so you buy a 1K. Here you get into 1K, just for, it doesn't have to be 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K, 7K, 8K, 9K, no fill down 9K. 9K, no fill. You hold this whole pack until it comes to the floor. So if all these Ks, you hold them and cash out here, that's a good winning trade. Because this is a bigger ticket, you could actually get out of this one here and let the other guys go, and that's going to take the edge off. Of course, you're not going to make all that money, but then again, you don't even know if that's going to retrace. It's not a guarantee. So that is don't forget that. That's just, there's no guarantee. Because, or you put too tight a stop in, and every time you got filled on this ticket, they stopped you out. They fill here, they stop you out. They fill here, they stop you out. They fill here, they stop you out. So if you are going to buy the top of that tree of this void, this void here was a lot cheaper, right? But 1, 2, 3K, no fill here on the, if you're going to run the same scheme, no fill. And this is the difficult part. You got to figure, well, this hole, there's going to be a real chance for this to fall real big, because that's an old price. Here, you could have said, well, you know, I was prepared for this thing to do that, what it did here. All right, so you barely got filled there, and that's why you probably would have market orders where you pull the trigger because it's down, and here, if you waited an hour, the market order is going to win because it's taking into account what did happen. Whereas a blind grid of limits here is assuming that, yeah, I want to buy it down here. If the order only lasts an hour and it's here, you drop it here, that did not fill because it expired. It took at least 2 hours to get down here. So it's not a perfect world. And I think that you can't say stuff like, this is a thing and it always works. That's just the way it is. You know, don't ever have to adjust for conditions. This ATR shit that the no nonsense guy is running is just preposterous. It's like central planning. I mean, it's just so silly. Well, the ATR, if it kicks above this, you put on these filters. It's so funny. Because the market volatility kicked up like an idiot, he adjusts and optimizes to the latest. No, man, you gotta look at the thing and say, you know what? The pound's going to move 3 times as much as the euro, pip for pip, typically, and this is kind of a thing to keep in mind. But looking at the ATRs every day to see, oh, looks like the weather's no good to go sailing, dude. You don't have a choice if you're really going to trade and use that as most of your income. You got to have some kind of like, okay, I got something for this, you know. It's never going to be perfect. What business doesn't have some type of backup plan thing? Right? Who doesn't have these side things they can do? Oh, man, this phone just... Does it really have to buzz and all that shit? I hate that shit. Okay, we just hit 7 p.m. and the market's turning. Okay, now we could have held this trade. I was in this trade on the euro. You could have pulled the trigger here just before 7 o'clock, and you're long on limits from here. That's what I am. I'm in the British pound right now, and I'm long because I put limits just on that little wick there, and my target's going to be here. And when it heats up, you know there's going to be sellers up here. So I have to put my sell limits down there. You know there's going to be buyers down here, and this is what I have to do. The excitement is when, I mean, the only glorious thing is that the market comes down, fills all my tickets without stopping out one ticket, because every time I get stopped out of one ticket, I feel like I've lost one soldier. My troop of desperados that are going to grab this price here. Endure this. I need a 40 pip stop on this top ticket, and I kind of got stopped out a little bit at that very top ticket. But having all those arrays in there, if I'm going to risk 40 pips to make 60 pips, I'm going to buy right here with a 40 pip stop, and I'm going to take 60 pips off the table just on that one ticket. But if I have an array that starts buying here, now I'm going to buy 80K here, and here I'm going to buy 40K. Just a bunch of hodgepodge tickets, and some of these have an exit right here. It's going to get out, and it's got to stop here. Some of them have stops here. 20 pip stop, it's gone, right? Right to here, it just got stopped out. And it's terrible, because if you bought here with some Fibonacci bullshit, and then they take it, oh God, I could have made 60 pips on that, but that's the 20 pip, and maybe it was some percentage thing. And look, it's diving again. Look at that. So in another hour, if it's below here, if it does not fill my limits, which I have sitting here, and this is just it. I just look at it like it's a business of having a weird restaurant where people come in, they sit at these tables. This is my logarithmic, which is essentially a martingale. Now, in between that, I'm going to put another rack, so I'm risking almost $20 here for 8 hours. And because it's Asia, I'm going to just put the 8 hours in. Now, if the market was doing this crazy stuff, like I know we're about to drop through the floor here and just blow everybody's mind, because we're going to retrace that and then some. We're not going to engulf the whole day, though, but that has happened. That's good. That can happen too. It's not going to move along with it like this would here. I got to use one of these. Although that's an easier rectangle to draw. So this will be the big obstacle. I will sell above that in this window, the slot, and I'll be buying tomorrow morning. Maybe we're down here, and I'd buy right down there. And I'd buy with the idea that it's going to come, we're going to come into this price, and we're going to retrace out of it. Just like this, plunge down. So we come into this box maybe tomorrow morning, which is about right here. And that's possible, right? We can imagine the channel, traders, everybody's target, anybody that's going to sell here, or maybe a rally into this, and then they're looking for this kind of thing. And we would get on the other side of that trade, take it to here for maybe half the position. It depends. That's the only thing that does depend, is the size and all those kind of depends, because we kind of know we got to buy low and sell high. That's like obvious. I think it's just going to be when, how much, how often. Look at this beautiful. Come back to center point. Oh, that's just a great, cute little on the 1 hour chart. Oh man, break out, pull back to here. So make this run. You could have sold into this pocket on limits. When it came back here, you got out, or you bought at the market here, or you had limits sitting in here. And you're looking for that pullback. For that trade, then you just got to get out. Yeah, I think there is a dream that it's going to take out the high of the day, but that's too late. By the end of the day here, you just kind of fizzle and then whamp, whamp, and just start clearing this out. If you bought that, you're only able to make about 15 pips on that. But this is the trick, is to put in orders here that last 4 hours, 8 hours, the 8 hour tickets. Putting an 8 hour buy limit here is kind of ridiculous, or putting a big ticket there, because you're really going to be there for, well, you just barely filled that. 8 hours is kind of just right. Because 8 hours here, I don't think we can make it up there. And that's why I put the 1 hour tickets here, maybe. 1 hour sells there. It's just a game. I want to see if I'm going to get filled, I want to see, I put a pocket up here. And when it deletes itself, the only problem with orders that last 3 hours, they're less risky. But hey, if the market doesn't fill that zone, then you got to come back and redo it. If you want to get picked up on some kind of trade. So you got to keep putting them back up there, and they keep deleting. That's why you end up usually at a 6-hour, 8-hour ticket saying, well, you know what? And then is this going to be a problem? Is it going to tag it and come off it, or is it just going to blow through it? And you're like, oh, fuck. Well, if that happens, I've got sell limits here. And that's going to be the trade. The other trade is to buy down here. But after today's insane wick where you take out that, buy a good 40 pips. I think he said the market dropped like in 40 pips in about half an hour. Yeah. And, but we could go back on the chart and see how that was high probability that was going to be a problem there. All we got to do is zoom out and see that the reason why that was such a big deal, that this 20 pip window is the hidden gold mine. And the reaction, and maybe this is an order block or something, I need to give some a shout out to ICT. This must be the order block he's talking about. A shout out to ICT there for showing me this order block thing. He's my mentor, and I'm not a mentor, so he's the unmentor's mentor. Great rebound here, and you could have done either one on this. You're up 20 pips if you sold here, and then you could have bought there and made 15 pip bounce, and now it's getting all kind of quiet and stuff. It is hard to see it coming. I think this is another raid down there. Also, if you're sitting there at the market, it's down 1 hour, boom, buy, 20 pips, and you don't make the 40 pips here. In fact, they come down. If you never got out of that trade and you didn't move your stop, they stopped you out. That's pretty brutal. But that's the only excitement, is that you just don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. Look at the fill on that. Just crush into that zone and then rip it up. And everybody got out here. Not everybody, but the people that do this trade over and over, that's like a real kind of easy hit, comes right back to that. And then it backs off just before Asia, and now it does a full league move. This is still a nice counter trend sell, almost 20 pips. But this has to be the best because they smash it here. You make a nice 30 pips twice. So it looks like it might drip down into this. And the 8 hours are good for the drip downs accumulations. And they're also good for the smash downs. Dual purpose. Okay. Anyways. Go back to my movies. Gotta finish my, got some new coffee here. Gonna drop some tickets and watch I just can't believe what I'm seeing in the news. People are just out of their I mean, it's just ridiculous. What's happened? Because look at that. I don't think it's conspiracy. I think all the bricks were laid. You just because you're sane doesn't mean everybody else is. It's not. You just think. I always think, oh, everybody knows that you got to buy low and sell high, and it's not just a talking point. It's a real thing. Okay. There it is. We're waiting for that to tank into those 8-hour limits. And then, God knows. God knows, Katie barred the door. Looks like the pound's going to drop like a rock here. I'll put those tickets in. I like the wide span tickets. So if you're a swing trader, don't put your orders in 1 pip apart, because it's just you're going to overfill if they last a long time. I'm looking for my 20 pip 20 pip span in here. Why can't I find it? Oh, here it is. It's folded up. So here is the big canvassing tickets. Oh, geez. Here, let's clean that up. So anything below here, see? And these should really last about 12 hours because I don't think I'd change this for anything. It's like, but that's a real ripe. Or I could sell into that right now. You know, I could sell into that right now going to Asia. You know, let's just sell into it now. Fuck. Right? Isn't that... That's what I say about empowered trading. You know, hey, why don't you just sell? If you think that's the entrance, just sell here. But for laziness, I'm just not. I'm going to buy that plunge. So that's going to be tonight's plan. I do think in the long run, so if you look at the 4 hour, you're like, oof. Man, look at this thing. This is a lot of pips here if you didn't mind the retracements in that being this retracement of 40 pips. If you're still short on that, and I think people are. I do think it's over for. Look at the Nasdaq. So here's the punishment. They took out the floor of yesterday, and buying into that. This is another thing. I don't know if we will retrace on that. It could be lights out. This could be the beginning of the end. Bitcoin's poised for another plunge. But that was a great scalp. Dow Jones. Punishment today. Look at this. I hate to be a fundamentalist, but this Bidenism, which is typically called communism or state-run central planning shit. Wait till these goobers get a hold of this void filling. And if we could retest the corona lows, it's going to be a while, isn't it? Look at these corona lows down here. Look at this beautiful top become a bottom. I just noticed on the daily. Bing, bing. Whew. Didn't become a bottom here, but we got a big giant void to fill here, possibly. Just like utter meltdown. These bozos. Oh my God. Welcome to Bozo Olympics. How about the it's gonna be, it's a handicap administration. It's completely ridiculous. Okay. It's time to go watch some boring movie. Look at this. I wanted to look at the dollar. One last thing here. So the dollar came into that hole I was talking about, and you could have sold this. That's the 4 hour dollar. Nice scalp. Or you were long into that, and that was your target. Alrighty then. I go trace the market here a little bit. Little market order. Some gratification. So if I'm undersized and I see the market filled my limits and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a decent trade. I'll put a couple at the market, but I'll either put a couple limits really close to where I'm at, thinking that's the whole thing, getting that size right. I think that is the most critical thing, because you could have been barely in Bitcoin and made money. You could have easily made 10 grand being in a very small position from a long time ago. But would you have held that position? If you're up 5 grand, most people get out. If you bought something for $300 and now it's worth 3 grand, you're probably going to get out. And I don't know if you'd ever regret it, because it's just too, if it's a once in a lifetime thing, yeah, that's bad, right? Because you're like, oh gosh, I got to really do it big, because if I'm only going to do this once, it's got to last. But if you're just churning the markets, which I just churn like a lot of tickets, and spread the risk. So it's just not that big of a deal as that. And the nerve-wrackingness of one ticket on one day because of one thing, and all the thinking that needs to go into that one decision is just too much. All right, so 55 minutes. I'm gonna go get me some bad entertainment, some free YouTube entertainment.